It is a very exciting time to be practicing competition law these days. I think the current commissioner is much more aggressive in terms of enforcement. She has a more focus on enforcement than on policy issues. And as a result, it ends up that practitioners like myself end up with more interesting work, more interesting cases, and we are pushing the boundary really of the law and testing the boundaries of the law, which, as most lawyers would tell you, that's why they went to law school. Pro bono work is a very important piece of my own life. Having come where I came from, I think, and being the recipient of much of the charitable work that was done by others, I think it's my turn to give back now that I'm in a position to do so. Currently, I'm very involved with Day Trippers, which is an organization that funds school trips for children. So I can remember when I was a little kid growing up in Hamilton, there were trips to various parts of the city, various parts of the country where, as an underprivileged child, you may not have the funds to go. So Day Trippers, what it does is that it raises funds and directs those funds to schools and teachers who apply where they find that there are students within their classes who would not be able to afford the trips but for the funding. So that's a small piece of what we do, and it's an important piece of, I think, the work that we do at Day Trippers. I've always had very good mentors. Not only did they teach me a lot about the law and the practice of law, but also the life balance issues, which I've grappled with myself. But I think I'm a better person having benefited from their advice. I think I had clerked for Justice Gibson at the federal court. He was, a great mentor, and the partners with whom I work, many of them have been spectacular in terms of helping me progress in terms of my own legal skills and as well as my work within the office. To be an advisor to a client and knowing current events, so to speak, it's important, it's very important. I mean, it all depends on the type of clients that you're serving. But if you're serving large multinational corporations whose business span the globe, it's very crucial that you stay up to date, just because so much is happening internationally now. In the practice of law in the antitrust area, where I am, for instance, it's very international. Things happen all over the world and have to be coordinated. So unless you're on top of it, it's very difficult for you to come across convincingly with your clients when you're advising them on a course of action, for instance. I try to simplify things for the client and speak in their language. I think it's very, very tempting for lawyers, after you get very specialized, to speak in the legal jargon that you're familiar with when you're dealing with regulators or your colleagues at the bar. I think clients don't normally communicate that way. They want to understand it in business terms, in terms that lay people can understand. And I think that's the key.